It's a lot more complicated than just Dr. Murray was at his bedside when he died. Circumstances had been leading up to this day for years.
Michael Jackson's supposed final words have ripped open years of silence, confirming the darkest fears of some, that his death wasn't accidental or due to neglect, but the result of a deliberate, sinister plot hiding in plain sight. Picture the dim rehearsal room, the king of pop, drained and fragile from endless rehearsals, leaning toward his brother with eyes wide and voice trembling as he murmurs, almost too softly to hear, "They're going to take me." That look of dread, part prophecy, part plea, hangs like a chill, a desperate cry for help, a final clue from a man who felt the walls closing in.
From pain meds to anesthesia, he used it to sleep, and he became shockingly reliant on it. A lot of people were saying privately, Michael's addictions and the cancellation of the Dangerous tour were directly connected.
We know June 25th, 2009 is etched into history as the day the world lost its greatest performer, but long before the official findings, Michael was quietly leaving breadcrumbs, muttering to those he trusted that powerful figures wanted him silenced. Imagine standing in his brother's shoes, hearing that terrified whisper, watching Michael's face carved with dread. He wasn't fretting about stage fright or money, he was convinced someone had a plan. When he collapsed in his Los Angeles home and was rushed to the hospital, later pronounced dead at 50, the story given to the world was an overdose of propofol, an operating room anesthetic never meant for a bedroom. His personal physician, Conrad Murray, was tried and convicted of involuntary manslaughter and branded reckless and negligent. But was Murray the mastermind, or merely the face chosen to absorb the blame while the real architect melted back into the shadows?
After my tour ended, I remained out of the country undergoing treatment for a dependency on pain medication. This medication was initially prescribed to soothe the excruciating pain that I was suffering after recent reconstructive surgery on my scalp.
Michael Jackson wasn't just an entertainer, he was an empire, and at the height of his career he controlled one of the most lucrative music catalogs on earth, including rights tied to the Beatles, a collection worth billions. Insiders have long whispered that those assets painted a target on his back, and the idea that the industry that crowned him king might have preferred him down rather than watching him reclaim a throne with that kind of power is hard to ignore. Only weeks after his death the estate's control shifted. Deals were struck and treasures he'd fought to protect were suddenly up for grabs, fueling questions about whether the comeback tour was ever meant to happen or whether his end had been penciled into a balance sheet. Some family members, LaToya among them, say Michael warned them he'd be taken for his catalog. Paris later called the whole thing a setup. Reportedly he left scribbled notes about shadowy figures trying to control his life, strangers firing loyal staff to isolate him, and men in suits steering his finances. If those warnings were real, Conrad Murray may have been a distraction rather than the architect. In the final weeks he rehearsed at the Staples Center just 2 days before collapsing. Videos show exhaustion, fans pore over frames for clues, and while he pushed ahead determined to prove he was ready, behind closed doors he fought insomnia and relied on enablers who kept him awake through the night, making those last days look, in hindsight, far stranger and far more orchestrated than they first appeared.
There's nothing I can do to take it back. And if someone was hurt by it, and saying I'm sorry.
Michael begged for milk, his haunting nickname for propofol, the way a prisoner begs for water, not just for rest, but out of dependence that left him vulnerable to control. The toxicology report told a chilling story. Not only propofol, but a dangerous cocktail of sedatives coursing through his body: lorazepam, midazolam, diazepam, lidocaine, ephedrine, stacked together in combinations no physician should ever allow. Former insiders insist this wasn't care but sabotage disguised as treatment. Keep him weak, keep him foggy, keep him desperate enough to surrender his life to the very hands tightening the grip around him. Each dose tethered him deeper, eroding his strength until his voice shrank to a whisper when he confided to his brother that they were going to end him. The irony is devastating. The man who once electrified stadiums reduced in his final hours to softly pleading in his own home, surrounded not by family but by contracts, handlers, and a doctor earning $150,000 a month to protect him. Yet that God stepped away, made calls, left him unmonitored as the so-called medicine pushed him past the brink. So the questions linger: was Murray merely careless, or acting under orders as a pawn in a larger scheme? Who stood to gain most from silencing Michael just as he prepared for a triumphant comeback, a 50-show run that might have rewritten his legacy? And why did the trail suddenly go dark in the toxicology files? While the coroner confirmed the cause and manner of death, parts of the record were sealed at investigators' request, key dosages, vials, and labels redacted or vanishing into legal fog. In a case that reshaped pop culture overnight, those missing lines aren't technicalities, they're the empty spaces where motive can hide.
Enable his addiction, which I was not aware of. Your Honor, I am an innocent man. They accused me of having Michael on a 3-hour propofol infusion. That was